All right, so I want to talk about something a little bit different today because I see a lot of folks, well, honestly, the way I used to practice all the time was like training one skill at a time. Let's do this skill, let's go for it, let's crush it. And then you go and do a sequence or something later. And like, there's just all these different ways to practice. And I think it's really helpful to give this framework of completion versus efficiency training. So like, this is something that I think competitive jump ropers kind of naturally end up doing because of their goal for performance and to make skills look good. But you can train your skills differently in terms of what your goal is when you don't have to just do scratch all that. A lot of people do both of these at the same time and they get really frustrated because you're trying to do a skill that's new or that is, you're not really that familiar with, and you're also trying to do it really well, make it look good. And those two things at the same time can cause a lot of frustration. So like making it clear that like, listen, you can train a skill for completion, or you can do it for efficiency, or you can mix those two together within your training session. But like, understand that doing those at the exact same time is probably gonna make you mad. So like, let's actually look at how this works in a practice, right? So completion is like, you don't really care how it looks, trying to just get it done. You see a lot of like the top jumpers will just go throw crazy tricks. And it doesn't really matter what it looks like a death wish or a money maker or like a double backflip AS like Seth did, that's ridiculous. So like these kinds of skills, even at a lower level too, when you're trying like a TJ for the first time or like a handstand, or like when you're first trying to get it, it's really, really useful to just do the skill, make it happen, and then feel what it's like. There's a lot that you can get from doing that, and then you can transition later, whether it's in the same practice or a different practice or like whatever, you can then focus on efficiency on a different session where you don't necessarily care about, you know, getting the skill or completing it, but you're trying to make something a little bit better about it in terms of aesthetics or the way it feels or the actual performance of that skill. For example, TJ, right? We take a TJ, all crazy and stuff, and then if you go and train it for efficiency, you're trying to get all of your positions a little bit more close to your body, trying to get your chest up. That's like an example of that. Handstands the same way. You can actually pull a handstand for the first time and it's great, and then you want to go train for efficiency so you can actually take that skill and then level it up into a double under frog later. So I think it's a pretty straightforward, idea, but I think that a lot of times if you don't say what you're after or like internally make a note about what you're after in your training session, you can get really frustrated, and there's a certain amount of frustration that's like totally fine, and like we expect that, right? But there's a certain amount that can be mitigated pretty easily if we just talk to ourselves, not in a weird way, but like talk to ourselves in terms of like what are our goals and how are we approaching our skills that we're after. So you don't have to make everything efficient, you don't have to make it pretty, but if you are the kind of person that wants to complete a skill and then continue to level it up, or you want to continue to make it a little bit easier so that you can just have fun with it or be proud of it or whatever your goal is, like that's a nice way to split things apart mentally of like, okay, right now I'm trying to get the skill for the first time, I don't really care how it looks, and then later I'm going to work on the efficiency piece. And it's important to balance those out. If you're always trying to be efficient, you're gonna go try a quad TJ for the first time, and then it's not gonna be clean because you're trying to make it clean, and then you're just gonna be mad at yourself, and that's not good. If you're trying a new skill brand new, just go hit it, make it happen, and kind of see how it works, and then later be like, oh, okay, I can do this with my form, I can bring my chest up, I can whatever, do a better jump rope squat, all these different things, and then make it a little bit better. So there's always like a fine balance with this. That's really all I have to say about that. I guess I'll just do a little bit more jumping and then we'll close this one out. So like, for example, one of my favorite combos ever is doing like a TJ into an EB wrap with a 360. Something like that. That's pretty, it's pretty gross, but that skill I've done a lot of times over the years, and then you just kind of like slowly refine it more and more and more, and it becomes easier to do. That one was not necessarily the most pretty one. That was the first one of the day, but like when I first tried it, it was something along the lines of like, which is way more gross. So one other thing, I don't know if you were around then, but a while ago on Instagram, this one guy, Chris Walker, came and visited me in San Diego, and we were hanging out, and I did a skill, and it was really nasty because Chris was pushing me to my limits. And so I was trying this new skill. I think it was like a quad, mick, swing, cross, something like that. I think that's what it was. And I got the skill, but I landed super low. It was not good looking at all. And I said, gross, but I still got it. Gross, but I still got it.
Go on.
Gross, but I still got it. Many of you remember that quote, but it really gets to the heart of completion versus efficiency training. Gross, but got it. Like, you can still be proud of it, even though it doesn't look that great, because you have to get it in the first place for it to actually turn into something efficient or turn into something good looking later. So really, gross but still got it gets down to like the core of completion training. You're not trying to make it look phenomenal, you're trying to get it done so you can be proud of the fact that you did that skill. And later on, move into the efficiency training. So just remember that it might be gross, but you still got it. All right guys, I will see you next video.